Hey everyone, so it is day 8 of Vlogmas, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the cages that all of the pets are currently in. Now, I have done a pet room tour of the entire room, but I didn't go super in depth on the cages. Now, I'd like to do some individual cage tours for everyone, but one of my most frequently asked questions now is, what cage is your tenric in? What cage is your guinea pig in? What cage is your hamster in? What cage is your hedgehog in? Like, I get that same batch of questions on every single video so far. And I usually answer it, but I figured it would be much easier for me to just make a whole video about what they're in, since they're all in the same kind of cage. So, let's just get right into it. They are all in Critter Nations. This cage you're looking at now is a triple Critter Nation. It extends over there and over there. So there are 3 of them put together. For the guinea pig cage, all I did when I built it was I built the cages without their side panels so that it would be one long cage. Now, if you do this yourself, you can do like one solid coroplast base if you wanted, but what I decided to do is I went ahead and used the Critter Nation trays because I like how easy those are to clean. That means that there is a little bit of a gap between the 2 cages, so I just cover it with a pad, and that's that. And then to keep the cages together, you can see it at the top here, I zip tied them. I think each junction, there's 2 here, 2 up here, and 2 down here, none in the front because of the doors. Now, I did this on the other side as well, which means this center Critter Nation was built without both of its sides. Now, standing alone, building them without their sides would mean that they're not very stable at the top, but because it is zip tied to 2 other Critter Nations who do have one of their sides, it's incredibly stable. So let me show you what I've done with the spare panels. These are the spare panels from the cage. They're literally just like this side of the cage. They slot in and out when you build the Critter Nation. And I just left them out and then zip tied the cages together. It was super easy to do. And then the bottom 3 cages are all separate. So not only do they have their panels in on the sides, but they also have coroplast separating them. Not only do I have the guinea pigs and the tenric and the hamsters in a Critter Nation, I also have the hedgehogs in a Critter Nation, and they have been in their Critter Nation the longest. The hedgehogs have been in their Critter Nation pretty much exactly a year now. We got these in December of 2015, and now it is December of 2016, and they've worked out really great for us. The built-in loft that you can add to these has been a great way to put the heat lamps in, which has been super convenient. And we did wind up adding coroplast to the sides of the cage. Rather than doing a full base, we just zip tied the coroplast to the bars. That way I can open the doors and there isn't a lip there. This keeps any poop from falling out, but it also helps retain heat just a little bit more. And though my boys aren't climbers, it would be a good preventative for climbing. So now that I've described sort of who is where and how I put this whole thing together, let's talk about what this cage is. This is the Critter Nation. It's made by Midwest. and that just says the world's best small animal habitat, which I would tend to agree with. The dimensions are there. They are 36 inches long by 24 inches wide, and that is for a single unit. And then they are 63 inches high, and that's for the double. If you'd like one of these cages but you only have one pet that you think would use it, you can buy a single, which is just this section here. They do sell them individually. I do believe that the singles model is model 161, whereas the double model is model 162. Now, I'll leave a link to exactly where I got my Critter Nation. I bought it off of Amazon. I did wait until the Black Friday and Christmas sales. I got these three on a few days before Black Friday. They dropped down to $120 a piece, so we bought them then. But the hedgehogs we bought when they were on a Christmas sale for about $180. Their full market price is well over $200, so I fully recommend waiting for sales. They happen fairly frequently. But Amazon isn't the only place that sells them. We bought it from Amazon because we are Prime members. You can Google Midwest Critter Nation or Midwest Double Critter Nation, depending on which one you would like, and all the sites that sell it will pop up. Now, some of the sites sell it for cheaper, but then you have to pay for shipping. Some of them sell it for way more, and you'll want to avoid those. You'll just want to browse around. I personally had a great experience with Amazon. Something to consider when buying this cage is how heavy they are. They are about 108 pounds a piece for the double Critter Nation. I'm not sure how much the single weighs, but this does mean that in shipping, sometimes it can squish itself. So if you order this, I recommend having a rubber mallet and a regular hammer on hand. The regular hammer so that you can use the little claw foot on the back to pry things apart, or you can use a crowbar if you happen to have one of those, and a rubber mallet so that you can bang pieces into place. It's perfectly normal for a couple pieces to be a little bent out of shape, but most of it is malleable enough that you can adjust things yourself. These cages have been one of the best investments I've ever made, especially for the guinea pigs, because it puts them right at chest level with me, and since they have to be cleaned out the most, it's the best situation possible for my back. It also gives a lot of space for my hamster and tenric, and even the hedgehogs who don't climb. It still has a great amount of floor space. The one thing to consider is that if you need pans with edges, you'll have to order them separately. They do have scatterguard pans that fit these cages that you can get. They even have metal ones, which are great for things like chinchillas who cannot have plastic in their cages. If you do choose to buy only a single and then at a later date you would like to perhaps add on a second level, they do sell separately an add-on cage, which is just the top section of the cage. It's not going to send you the stand all over again or anything like that. It is just the top panels. You will be able to get that separately at a later date if you choose to. So say you have one hedgehog and you want it in a Critter Nation, and then you add a second hedgehog to the party. There you go. These cages open in the front specifically, and they open all the way. I'll show you that. So they open with these two little clamps here. You pinch them together, and then the door swings completely open on both sides. It is not like some of these type of cages that only open on one side. They don't have a side opening. This doesn't naturally open. This is like this because I left the panel out when building it, not because it comes like that. If you buy the double, it comes with one full-size pan, and then the second pan has a notch out of it, like that. you can very easily modify that. So that is easily modified by adding some coroplast in the corner where there is no tray. You just tape it to the underneath. It's super easy. And it winds up being a perfect little lip for bowls if you choose to use it for that. If you'd prefer to have all single full-size pans, you can order the replacement pans online, and that way you don't have to deal with modifying a half pan at all. Each cage comes with a loft and a ramp. If you get the double, you'll get 2 lofts and 3 ramps. And the top section of the cage does have a little cutout of it to make it a full double cage for ideally things like chinchillas and rats, things that would use both levels at the same time. Because I have mine cut off, I do have those sections closed. You can use the ramps to close them, or you can do like what I did, which is mesh over them with some hardware cloth. There are instructions in the Critter Nation instruction book on how to close off the levels with the ramps, however, if you choose to do that. So I will definitely be leaving a link down below to where exactly I got my cage. But like I mentioned before, if you simply Google them, you will find sites that sell them. Did we all see that popcorn? Anyway, if you Google them, you will find other sites that sell them at different prices. Every site that I tend to stumble on tends to sell them at a slightly different price than another, and you'll have to take into account that some sites charge you for shipping and some don't. So I will leave the link to the one I have, and then you can browse around if you'd like to, or you can purchase the same one I have. The cages are all the same. There is actually an alternative to this cage called the All Living Things. I think it's like a mansion or something like that. It looks identical to this cage. They're priced about the same, but I believe that PetSmart carries it in store. So if you're looking to perhaps purchase something in store, that might be something to look into. They're identical cages with different names. The Ferret Nation is also similar to this. However, they have full inch bar spacing, whereas the Critter Nations only have half-inch bar spacing, which makes it more so ideal for smaller critters like hamsters, tenrecs, and of course hedgehogs. The full inch spacing would work for things like ferrets and chinchillas and even the guinea pigs if you chose to go that route. So I think I've covered most things. If you'd like to ask me anything else about these cages, go ahead and leave it down below, and I will help if I can. So thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for tomorrow when we're back to regular Vlogmas vlogs.